Okay, everyone, here we are, week 5. Congratulations, you've made it halfway through the class. 4 more weeks to go, and I'm really excited at where we're going this week. And I'm really thrilled with the progress I've seen already in just a few short weeks from you guys. I think you should be very pleased with yourselves. All of you, big pat on the back for that. So this week, we're going to do more work with portraits and still lifes. And the reason we're going to be working on some of these still lifes, we're going to be drawing flowers, we're going to be drawing fruit, is to start really thinking more about three-dimensionality. And some of these activities that we're going to be doing are going to help with that. So we're reading chapter 9, Drawing a Self-Portrait, and it's going to be prepping us for what we're going to be doing in the Create assignment and in the Create assignment next week. We have a discussion board, we have a copy, and we have a Create. I've decided to just minimize the sketch assignments to 5 sketches, and that way they'll be due every other week. So last week you had some due, this week you don't have any due. Then week 6, instead of having 10, you're just going to have 5 to do. So you'll get the same amount of points for just doing half the work. But I think that, just minimizing that a little bit, just to help you guys out, give you a little more breathing room to concentrate on these copy and create assignments. We're always experimenting with these classes, seeing how we can make them better, and sometimes we make little changes here and there, for different classes, and just work with the group of students we have. So I think I just want to give you guys that little grace point there. So hopefully that will be appreciated. Okay, discussion board this week, John Singer Sargent. So we're talking about portraiture. This week we're going to be watching a documentary. This is just a short one. It's a 30-minute episode of a show that the BBC did a while back called The Forger's Masterclass. This is a man named John Myatt, and he's a master forger. He actually was imprisoned for forging and now has turned his life around. Really cool story. But he does legitimate copies now, and then he's, doing these cool shows and documentaries, and he teaches. So he is going to show us doing a John Singer Sargent portrait, which is actually, surprise, surprise, what you guys are going to be doing this week as well. So enjoy watching this. You can find other episodes on YouTube if you just really like the show. I think it's a really cool show. And then discussion. Of course, you guys know how these work by now. So a couple questions. How were these art students asked to think first with their right brain? What does Sargent employ? How does Sargent employ adventurous spontaneity in his work? So that's something he talks about in this little episode. What are the benefits of studying the techniques of a master artist like Sargent? So I want you to be looking at that as well. And then, find out from one of your peers, comment on their work. This might be something you're interested, just suggestion. Oh no, sorry. Where am I? My brain has not recovered from Easter yet. Okay. There we go. How would you feel if you were asked to copy a Sargent? And actually, you can just talk about how you feel doing it, because you're going to be doing that in your copy assignment for this week. So we're going to be doing exercises 12, 13, 26, and 27 here. So 27 is actually a really, really quick one. So it's really kind of more 3 that you're going to be focusing on here. The flowers, number 12, should be pretty quick. Definitely do them in order. Do that one first, because what I like about that one, and she talks in, the purpose of the exercise about portraying three-dimensionality and how this is a mystery to students, and how you first have to flatten the object and do it in 2-dimensional form and then give it dimension. And this is, looking at how objects, are present in space. And that's something we were doing with the hands last week with the, in week 3 with the plastic picture plane. So that might be something you want to use again when you do this assignment. Actually, in the instructions, she suggests you use it. So you can use, hopefully you've got some flowers in your house hanging around from Easter. I've got tulips drooping at this point, but have fun with that one. And then in exercise 13, you're going to be drawing an orange. So go, this perfect season, perfect time of year, go grab an orange from the grocery store. And I would like you to make sure that you partially peel it. Sometimes students give me where they've just drawn a round orange, and I think, you're kind of cheating there. We want to see that that depth and dimension, and that's, again, these are practicing the use of 3 dimensions, and so these are all kind of leading up to those self-portraits there. And then you're going to be doing exercise 27, and let me jump over to that one so I can kind of walk you through what we're doing. So in 26, we want to jump into 26 first. This is just the proportions of the head. So you are not drawing a full-blown profile in exercise 26. You're doing that more in exercise 27. In 26, you're basically copying what you see on page 98 onto page 99. So just very minimum details. It's just about getting those proportions right. So don't, go overboard, but make sure that you photograph in that process of 26 so that I can see that, and then we can do 27. So in exercise 27, you're doing a copy of John Singer Sargent's Madame X, which is a very iconic painting. And basically, this was just a study that he did for the larger painting, and you're going to see that painting in the Forger's Masterclass that you're watching. So I'd watch that first, especially so you get more of a feel for Sargent before you do this copy. I would kind of do it right before, and then do your copy assignment, and then maybe do your discussion board so you can talk about your process of doing this. So you literally are doing a copy of what you see on 102 onto 103. I try and make this explicit because sometimes I get students who just do a completely different profile portrait. You're drawing Madame X, that's what you're drawing there. So make sure that we read those instructions thoroughly. In our create assignment this week, we're doing exercise 23, 24, and 28. So let's jump back to exercise 23. We do a few of these slightly out of order. If you're more than welcome to just kind of go through them all chronologically if you wish, and then just submit them in the right assignment place. So exercise 23, we're going to be doing still lifes because this week we're doing still lifes and portraits. So you've done kind of, at this point, we do the flowers, we do the orange, and then in 23, we're doing books on a table. So this is something that's more geometric. So for those of you who favor that kind of drawing, which I tend to really like, this is an exercise for you. So, grab a stack of books and, I'd use, if you have a desk lamp, point that lamp on some, from some strong angle. That way you can get used to directional lighting and really thinking about those lights and shadows there. And let's see, then we're going to exercise 24, which is a still life with ellipses. And so this is something where you might want to grab a vase or, something that is rounded, even, bottles, because when we're drawing bottles realistically in space, they're not necessarily circles, they're ellipses. So make sure that you grab a couple things for that. So don't make them extreme, just grab a few simple shapes, maybe 3 items, here. That will be plenty to kind of give a variety of shape in your composition, but still keep it relatively simple. And then we jump to exercise 28. And so this is the one right after we've done Madame X. So let me jump back over to 28. Where are we? That's 30, 29. Okay, so in 28, you're going to be using those proportions that you learned in exercise 26, those proportions of the head and profile. Then you're going to be doing a profile portrait. So make sure that you read through. She gives a lot of really good tools in here. Take your time. This is probably the one that's going to take you the most time of any of these exercises. So make sure you allocate, about an hour at least if you're slower. Like I tend to be a slower artist, that I need a little more time usually. So make sure that you set yourself up enough time to do this where you're not feeling rushed. And walk through all those steps. I promise you it'll make it a lot easier. So remember, focus on measuring. If some of you, I've talked about using your pencil to measure proportions, and that's one thing that she suggests here. She suggests using your viewfinder and using units, basic units of measurement. And so have fun with that one. So that one's a cool one, and I think especially she gives so many good tools this week. In the text and in the workbook. So go for it. You guys are going to do great. I'm really excited to see how those turn out. So that's what we got going on this week. So your create, still life, and portraits. We're going to be drawing Madam X this week and some fruit and some flowers. Have fun watching John Myatt talk about John Singer Sargent. And this is kind of a fun one, so I would definitely do that first. And get your reading done as well. That's what we got going on. Be looking for your work from last week to be graded by Friday at the latest. I will definitely make sure that I do videos again this week as well. And have a wonderful week. I hope you all had a great Easter too.